Hi, welcome back to the Shuko Math Practice Lab Algebra 2 lecture series. And in this video, we're going to talk about lesson 1.7. And let's talk about, in this video, we're going to talk about how to solve the absolute value equations. And this topic, in fact, is the topic a lot of students, got confused about it and have trouble with it. And so I hope when we finish today, you should have a very clear idea how do we approach these problems here. All right, how do we approach the problem with absolute values? Okay, so now let's take a look at what type of the worksheets we're going to have today. And here is the worksheets here. So this is a worksheet 1.7. And as always, I'm going to do the problems highlighted in the blue. And then I have two sets of the exercise and let you practice with the absolute values. Like I said, this is a very important topic. And a lot of students, they have trouble to break the absolute value sign and to try to solve the problems here. Okay, so let's take a look here. So I'm going to go to the whiteboard and let's start this lectures here. Okay, so the first things here, we talk about absolute value. So we have a few things here we want to work on. So the first things here, the absolute values, right? So we typically use like the kind of two lines here. So we say this is the absolute value of A here. So the two lines means like that's the absolute value. So what is the absolute value? That means it does not matter what is inside it. It always give a what? So we'll give a what? Non-negative, right? So non-negative value. That's what is the absolute value. So like I think we all know, so everything come out from the absolute value sign has to be positive. So if I have a 3, right? So if you 3 take the absolute value, because the 3 is already positive, so it will be equal to itself, right? And so how about can absolute value have 0? Yes, sure. So absolute value of 0 is 0. Can absolute value have a negative? So how about if I have a negative 2, right? The absolute value. Remember, everything come out, the absolute value become positive. So the absolute value of negative 2, this will be equal to 2 here. All right. So for examples here, let's take a look at next examples here. So if x equal to negative 2, y equal to 3, so I have a negative 2, I have, let's see here, I have 3x minus 2y here, right? Absolute value. So what is the value of this? Okay, so in order to find the value of this, the first one's here, so you say 3, so you say 3 times negative 2, right? Then minus 2 times what? Times 3, right? Okay, so now you will have here 3 times negative 2 is what? Is negative 6. Then minus 2 times 3 is what? Is 6. So I have a negative 6 minus negative 6. So what is that? Is negative 12, right? Now, because the absolute value, everything come out with a positive, so this will become 12 here. Be very careful, right? So when you have an absolute value function, you do the operations inside the absolute value first. Then the last step, you get out the absolute values, right? So one of the common mistake, the student make is this ones here. So they will say this one. So what they will say, oh, here, I can do this is 3x minus 2y. So they break the absolute value like this. Can we do that? No, right? So we cannot do that to break the absolute value. So you need to do what is inside first, then till the last step to come out with the come out with the absolute value functions here. Okay, so the next thing here is super important, right? So this is will help us try to solve the absolute value function, is how to break out, right? So how to break out the absolute value functions here. So because when we try to solve the absolute value equation, the first thing here, we need to get rid of the absolute value, because we say we cannot do anything like a separate, like a 3x minus 2y like that. We need to do the things inside. So we need to come out the absolute value. So here, this is what we say here, okay? So if my x here is equal to a, see here, right? So in order to break it, the absolute value always you break it two ways. So you can write it as x equal to a, right? Or x equal to negative a here. All right, so that's how do we break the absolute value. So you're always going to have two equations, and then you will try to solve this way here. We're going to do some examples to show you and what I mean. So this is very important. Like I said, a lot of students got confused and always made mistakes try to solve the absolute value equations. Is because they don't know how to break out the absolute values here. So you always have x equal to a and x equal to negative a here. That's how do you break it. All right. And then the next thing is here, this is kind of like sometime, like in the SAT or some college prep exam, they will try to trick you. So like they will say, hey, try to solve like x plus 2 minus 3y equal to, maybe not a 2, like let's try to this way. So that maybe let's say 2x plus 3 equal to negative 1. Then they will say, hey, solve for this, solve for x here. And a lot of students, when they see this, and they say, okay, I remember, I need to break out the absolute value. And then they start to try to solve it. But then when you see these problems here, when you see the absolute value equal to a negative number, so what you say is impossible, because all the absolute values has to be non-negative. So for here, you will say, what is here? No solution. Right? Because I cannot find any x value, give me an absolute value is negative 1, because absolute value cannot have negative. All right, so those are the few key things about the absolute values, and I hope that, you'll be able to get it and remember, right? So the most important is here, right? The one I highlight, I circle that in the red is how to break absolute values. Okay, so ready? Let's try to do some problems here to get you familiar with. Okay, so like here is the first one, x plus 15 equal to the 37. In order to solve for x, remember, we break the absolute value. We always need to do two things, right? So two parts. So x plus 15, one is just equal to 37. Then the next ones here, remember, we say is x, whatever inside the absolute value will be equal to what? Is you add the negative values, right? So this is what I mean here. This is the, right? So a, this is negative a, right? Okay, so now after that, so then from the previous video, I know how to solve the equations, right? So this is minus 15 here. Good. So this is x. So what happened here? 15 cancel. So what I have here, 37 minus 15. So what I have a 22. So x equal to 22 here. Now let's take a look at this one here, because remember, right, when we break the absolute value, you need to put a negative. Also, the next one here is you put the negative sign. So I'm still trying to solve the same way. So it's a minus 15 and then minus 15 here. So here, this is x, right? So here, 15, 15 cancel. Okay, so now negative 37 minus 15 here. So what is that? Be careful. Negative 37. So what I have a 50, negative 52 here. So for this equations here, I have two solutions. So x is equal to 22, or x can be equal to negative 52. See here, both of them, when you put it into this function, will give you a value of 37, right? So be very careful when you break the absolute value, you do a two parts. Okay, so now let's take a look at this one. So as long as you remember that principle, the things are pretty easy. So this one here is x plus 3. The first part will just be whatever is in here. So this is 12 minus 2x. Okay, what is my next part here? This is x plus 3. Whatever I have, whatever I have in the right-hand side, what I need to do, add negatives, right? So add a negative 12 minus 2x. Right? So it's the same old, right? So, okay, so now in here, like we did before on the previous unit, we move the x to one side and the number to another side. So I can say, hey, I want to get the x's out here, right? So the x plus 2x is how many? Is 3x plus 3. Hey, here, what happens here? Negative 2x, positive 2x. So here I have 12. Now I need to minus 3 here. So this is 3x equal to, what is 12 minus 3? It's 9, right? So what is the last step? 3 divided by 3. So the 3 divided by 3, so it's 1. So what is my answer for the first part? X equal to what? X equal to 3, right? Right. Okay, so now the next ones here, remember, we have two parts. So this is x plus 3. This is equal to, okay, now I need to use the distributive properties to try to get rid of this parentheses so I can do the things for it. So here, be careful, the negative need to go both, right? So this is negative 12 plus 2x here. Right? So far, so good. Okay, so now I'm doing the same thing at minus 2x and minus 2x. So this one's here cancels, right? And what happens here? This is negative x plus 3 is equal to negative 12, right? Now I move the 3, so I get a minus 3 minus 3, okay? So it's negative x is equal to negative 12 minus 3 is what? Negative 15. Okay, divided by negative 1, divided by negative 1. All right, so here, this one cancel. So this negative cancel. So what is my x here? X equal to what? X equal to 15. All right, okay. So for here, I know my solutions here. So what is my solutions here? My solutions here is x equal to 3 and x equal to what? 15, right? So both of them will satisfy these equations. Okay, so next here. Okay, so now for these ones here, we say we break the absolute value and have two parts, right? So in here, I can do this, right? So I can do, so the first thing is that I personally prefer to get rid of anything constants or things beside. The only thing left is absolute value. So in order to do that, so I divide by 2 first, right? So I divide by 2. So when I divide by 2, this one's here, Okay, so this one, 2 and 2 cancel. So this one's give me what? 3x minus 10. And then here, when I divide by 2, this is 40 minus 4x here, right? So this is really is 1/2 40 minus 4x, right? It's equal to the 3x minus 10. So I can use the distributive property and simplify a little bit. And so this will be 20 minus 2x equal to the 3x minus 10. Okay, so now this becomes the similar problem like we did for the previous. So 2 steps, right? So break it. So it's 3x minus 10 will just equal to whatever original. What is the next one here? Remember what is the next? We need to add the negative signs, right? So add the negative sign to the 20 minus 2x. Okay, so hey, I'm not careful. So this is 20 minus 2x here. Okay, so now do the same way. I move the x. So this one here is plus 2x. So this is plus 2x. So I have a 5x minus 10 is equal to 20, right? Because these two cancel. Okay, so now I need to get rid of this 10. So I plus 10 both sides. So what is here? So this is a 5x equal to what? Equal to 30, right? Now divided by 5, divided by 5. Right, so here find the 5 cancel. So what is the final my answer? X equal to 30 divided by 5 is 6. So this is one solution here. Okay, so now let's take a look at the other solutions here. Other solutions, so this one is 3x minus 10 because I add negative. So let's do the distributive properties so can remove the parenthesis. So this is 20 plus negative is what? 2x, right? Now we solve the equations. How do I solve the equation? Move the x. So it's 2x minus 2x. So this is x minus 10. This is equal to negative 20. Okay, now I solve for 10. I solve for x, add 10 both sides. Dun, dun. So what is negative 20 plus 10? So it's negative 10. So I know that x equal to negative 10. So for this problem, I have 2 solutions, right? Okay, so that's why we said we want to, move everything to one side, right? Okay, now we can apply it. Okay, so here, so this is a 5x minus 3x plus 4 equal to 20, right? So like we did before, I wanted my left-hand side or right-hand side only have absolute value. So for here, I will do first, I will minus 5x minus 5x. Can I? Yeah. So this one's here. Boom, boom. These two cancel, right? So I have negative 3x plus 4. And this will be equal to 20 minus 5x. Hey, be careful. I have this negative sign here. I know I cannot have that because of when I break it. Okay, so I divided by negative 1, divided by negative 1, right? So my left-hand side here, this is 3x plus 4. And here, this is negative. So this is really is like a negative 1 times 20 minus 5x, right? Then you use the distributive property, simplify that. So it will be simplified. This will be to negative 20 plus what? 5x, right? So this is negative 20 plus 5x. So far, so good? Okay, so far I did not do anything try to break the absolute value yet because I just want to change the, in order to be able to break it up. So now I can break up. So this is 3x plus 4. The first one is always just equal to itself, right? Negative 20 plus 5x. Then the next one's here. So what is the next one? 3x plus 4. I need to do what? I need to add the negative to the negative 20 plus 5x here. Then I solve for x's, right? Okay, so now let's try to solve for x's here. So this is minus 5x, right? So this is will be negative 2x, correct? And then these two cancel. So I have a plus 4 equal to negative 20. Now minus 4, boom, boom. So this is negative 2x. So what is negative 20 minus 4? Is negative what? Negative 24. Now I need to solve for x. So what I need to divide by? I need to divide by negative 2's, right? So when you divide by negative 2, these two cancel. So what do you have here? So I have x equal to what? X equal to 12. So this is one of my solution. Okay, so now let's take a look at these ones here. This is 3x plus 4. And when we add a negative in front, don't forget what? Distributive rules, right? Okay, so now negative is what? It's a positive. Negative positive is what? 5x, right? Okay, as long as you be very careful about the distributive rule, you will be very careful about that negative sign. I think you'll be fine. Now here, this is a 5x, this is a 5x here. So this is ax plus 4 and equal to 20, right? So minus 4 minus 4. So you will have ax equal to 16. Oh, I'm running out of the space, so I'm moving up here. So this is ax equal to 16. So how do I solve it? Divided by 8, divided by 8, right? Okay, so and 8 cancel. So what is the x here? So x is equal to what? It's 2. So I have two solutions, x equal to 12 or x equal to 2. So remember, right? So in order to break the absolute value, I need to have that absolute value just by itself at the one side of the equation here. Okay, let's try to do one last one here. So let's try to practice this one more time here, right? Okay, so this is 3 minus 5 to the absolute value 2x. Remember, I want the absolute value just by itself. Okay, so let's say here, I will just do this. 5 to 2x minus 3. Now here, I add 5, 2x minus 3, right? Okay, so what happened to my left-hand side here? So if you add it, right? So if you add it, this is boom, boom, cancel, right? So I have a 3 is equal to 4 plus 5, 2x minus 3, right? Okay, now I need to move the 4. So I need to minus 4 here. So 3 add negative 4 is what? Is negative 1, right? So then here, 4 and 4, you add it, these two cancel. So this is 5 and 2x minus 3 here. Now I want to just be the absolute value. So I divide by 5, divided by 5. So negative 1/5 equal to the 2x minus 3. And here, some student will say, oh, okay, let's break the absolute value and try to solve it. But remember here, you should immediately spot, oh, this absolute value equal to what? Equal to a negative 1/5. Like we talked before, can the absolute value be negative? No, because every absolute value has to be non-negative. So I don't even need to break it. What I can say is here, there's no solutions here. All right, so that means this will be the answer. There's no solution. Because after you do that, and then you find it, hey, these numbers, right? So this is become a negative, and the absolute value cannot be negative. All right, so this is how do we solve the absolute value equations, right? So the key things here is how to break the absolute value, right? So you always, so if I have something, so if I have something like x equal to a, right? So the way you break it, you will say x equal to a or x equal to negative a. So that's how did you break the absolute value, and then try to solve for a, try to solve for x, right? Then the next tricks here, next skill you need to know is if the equation is very complicated, right? So what you need to do, you want the one side, like either the left-hand side, this side only have absolute value. Right, so this side, your left-hand side or right-hand side, only have absolute value, and then here you could have a kind of a, you know, any type of the functions here, right? So then you can break it, right? But the important things here is, you know, if you have the equations mixed up with absolute value and some number, so you need to move the absolute value to one side, right? So like the problem E, and also like the problem D and the problem C here, right? So you want to isolate your absolute value to one side. Then you will be able to apply the breaking out rule, try to solve the x. And that's it, all right? And hope after this video, you will have a very clear picture about how to do the absolute value equations. It's super, super important, and a lot of students, you know, like all, you know, get confused about it. Okay, so just remember two rules, right? How to break it, right? So here, how to break it. So this is rule number one, how to break it. And then the second rule here is, before you break it, you need to manipulate your equation. So make sure your one side, your absolute value only on one side, and then move everything else to the other sides here. Okay, and that's it. And it's very nice to talk to you about this video. And if you like, you can subscribe to the channel, so any new video come out, you will get notified. And also, if you have any questions or you have any request, you can send an email to my email address, shukomathslab@gmail.com, and I put it at the beginning, the introduction slide. So it's looking forward to talk to you in our next lesson plans here. Have a good day.